In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your front brake caliper and bracket located right behind your front wheels. I'm going to go ahead and remove our center cap here. Just going to pop in through this little notch right here. Get behind there and pop that off. I'm going to use a 21mm socket. I'm going to loosen and remove our lug nuts. Once we have our lug nuts loose, go ahead and grab the wheel, slide it off and set it aside. We're going to go ahead and remove our brake caliper here. We're going to use our 13mm socket, loosen and remove these two pivot bolts. I'm going to use our pry tool here. I want to go ahead and loosen this caliper. Just working that back and forth. Once we work that loose, we're going to use our hanging tool here to hook that. And we're going to support that off of our upper control arm. On the back side here, I want to go ahead and remove these brake pads. Now that we have our pads and our caliper removed, we want to now go ahead and remove our brake caliper bracket. We're going to do so by loosening and removing these two bolts right here. I'm going to use our 18mm socket and go ahead, loosen and remove these bolts here. Now, in order for us to get to this bolt here, we have to loosen and remove this 10mm bolt here, holding our flex line bracket here. We could use a wrench on there if we wanted to, but to speed things up, we can just go ahead and remove this here and then use our ratchet. Just going to throw that bolt back in there for now. You want to hold on to that caliper bracket here as we remove this pieces of hardware, as well as the brake rotor. They're both going to be loose once these bolts are both removed. We're going to use our 13mm socket and remove our two slide pins. This is going to separate our caliper from our caliper bracket. Go ahead and set those bolts aside, separate these two components. Now what we want to do is pay attention to our slide pins here. We want to go ahead and pull these out. Now normally what we would want to do is we would add a little bit of extra grease to these here. You want to make sure that they are well coated. These particular ones do have a good amount of grease on there, so we're good to go with that. I'm going to slide that back in. So you're going to go ahead and work that rubber boot up and over the collar. I want to make sure that that's not hydro-locked or air-locked like that, so we're just going to slide this down a little bit. There we go. Let's go ahead and do the same for this one here. I'm just using a little pocket screwdriver here. You want to be careful not to tear that rubber boot, but I'm just opening that up just a little bit to let the air out of that pin there. And there we have it. Go ahead and give those pins a good twist here. Make sure they're pivoting nice and easy. Let's go ahead and put some grease right here where our pad sliders are going to be placed. Now you don't want to put a lot, you just want a thin coating. And once we do this for this side, we're going to do it for the other side as well. Go ahead and line those up. Press those down into place. And repeat for the other side. Let's go ahead and take your caliper bracket. Let's go ahead and push our rotor back into place. Let's go ahead and get one of these bolts started here. What I like to do is go ahead and thread these bolts in as far as I can get them. And then we'll come on in and we'll snug those down. Now, installing a new caliper, you want to go ahead and remove your banjo bolt right here. When you do that, on the bolt itself, there are going to be two copper washers. So when you install this here, one copper washer stays on the bolt. The other copper washer goes on the other side of the hose. Now we have a catch can underneath the vehicle. You definitely want to have this here because brake fluid is going to come out of the caliper and out of the hose. We're going to go ahead and use our 13mm socket. We're going to go ahead and loosen and remove this bolt here. You want to go ahead and inspect both sides here. Make sure that there is no copper washer on here, that they're both removed. And take your new unit here. I want to go ahead and line this up. Now put our bolt through, put our copper washer on the other side. I'm going to line this up with our caliper. Let's go ahead and get that bolt started. I'm going to go ahead and tighten that down. Wipe down our excess brake fluid here. Go ahead and set that up top. We can install our brake pads. Slide these into our sliders here. Go ahead and bring our caliper down into place. Slide that over. We can install our caliper bolts. Just go ahead and snug these down for now. Let's torque down our caliper to bracket bolts to 44 foot-pounds. And do the same for the top. Let's go ahead and torque our caliper bracket to knuckle bolts to 70 foot-pounds. And repeat the same for the top. Let's go ahead and install our upper flex hose bracket right here to the back side of the knuckle. Just snug that down. Now once you've had your brake caliper replaced, you want to go ahead and check that brake fluid. Underneath here is your master cylinder area, but we can't gain access to it here. We want to go ahead and gain access through the top here. There's a plastic little door or window. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. Pop that open. Right on the top here is going to be a screw cap. Go ahead and remove that. Push that little button in. I'm going to go ahead and use a clean funnel and put it right in here, and that funnel goes right into that reservoir there. We're going to add the recommended type of brake fluid to our reservoir. Now on the side of our reservoir, you can see a full line. You'll be able to identify that on the side of that tank or that reservoir. Remove your funnel, install the cap. Install the cover by putting in the back tabs first and simply pressing down around the perimeter. Now on the top back side of your brake caliper is going to be a rubber boot. I'm gonna go ahead and pop that off. Sometimes you'll need a little rubber pick like I have here in my hand. We're able to pop that off. And the bleeder screw is a 10 millimeter. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put our socket on here. We're gonna go ahead and open that up. What's gonna happen here is once we open this, the brake fluid is gonna come through the brake line, fill up the caliper, and when we see fluid start to come out of here, we're gonna go ahead and close this up. We go ahead and pump up the brakes in the vehicle, make sure the pedal feels good. If the pedal feels spongy, you wanna go ahead and proceed then to a brake bleeding process. Let's go ahead and wait for the fluid to come out here. As you can see here, we now have fluid coming out, so let's go ahead and tighten that bleeder screw down. You just want to lightly snug that. And then we're going to go ahead and wipe that down. Install the rubber boot. Go ahead and grab your wheel. Set that on. Let's go ahead and get our lug nuts all started by hand, and then we'll go ahead and snug those down. Let's go ahead and torque down our lug nuts to 110 foot-pounds. Now go ahead and put on your center cap. Just line that up. Pop that on, and you're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.